Hello, this is the Cobra RM40C, which is a rear roller mower with a 16-inch cut. This is how it arrives with you in a big cardboard box like this, all neatly packed away. So what I'm going to do is open it up, take everything out and show you how to get it ready so you can start mowing your lawn. So here we have it, all unpacked, all the wrappings taken off. We've got the mower here itself with the handlebars that are folded down, so they just need a little bit of installing to get those up and running, which we'll do in a second. We've also got here the owner's manual and the engine manual there, so you need to keep those safe and you also need to read them. You've got a spark plug socket should you need to remove the spark plug. That is a cable clip which we'll need in a minute. And then we've got here the grass collection bag, partly assembled, but we need to do just a little bit. We need to just clip it onto the frame. It's done like this for transportation purposes. So it's very simple to do. We've got this steel frame just here and we need to just pull this flap around it and just clip it on. If it's cold when you do it, just warm this up a little bit and you'll find it just becomes a bit more pliable. Just a little tip there, and then this one at the side we need to just pull through. And again, as you can see, if we just open up that rubberized flap there and fold it over, and this one here, so that holds the bag neatly on there so it will catch the grass clippings. And then we've also got some protectors here. Again, these were put in transit. It's just a case of just taking these off. It's just twist them off, these little plastic protectors, and that is that. So that one's ready now to use. So I'm going to put this on the floor so we can work on the rest of the mower. If I just pull this forward, we can also see that what we've got on this part of the handlebar frame, we've got these protectors on, and again I'm just going to slide those off. They're put on just to make sure that these corners don't do any damage when it's in transit, so we don't need those anymore. So what we need to do now is to assemble this handlebar. It's very simple to do. It's partly done for us, so just unhook that from under there and we can see that that folds down like that. So the first thing we can do before we can attach it is we've got to take out these nuts and bolts that have been put through this piece of frame here, this bracket, which is where we're going to attach the frame to. So it's just take them off, and each one has got a nut, a bolt and two washers. We've got a flat washer, a split washer and a hexagonal nut, and then the little bolt there. So there's two on either side, so we just take those out and then we can put it all back together again. Okay, then repeat it on this side, one set and the other set just there. Okay, so what we need to do now is just to offer this up into position, so when it's finished it will be like that. So I'm going to just push the flattened end of the handlebars, making sure that we're not chopping the cable or anything, and make sure we get that in the right place, and that's absolutely fine, so it's not trapped. And what we need to do is just line up the square holes in the bracket and on the flattened end of the handlebar, and then take one of the bolts and push that through the hole and lock it into position. It's got a square hole and the end there of this little bolt is square, so that just locks it into position and stops it twisting. So get those both in there. So I'm just going to put the flat washer on first, then the split washer, and then the hexagonal nut, just finger tight to start with until we've got them both on. And then the same with this one, flat washer, split washer and the nut. And then what you do need is a 13mm spanner just to tighten those up. The bolt can't turn because it's in the square hole at the back. So it's just tighten those up onto the split washer so that it won't vibrate out when we're using it. So what we need to do then is repeat that process on the other side. So just hold that in position, push through the nut and the washers, and then tighten it all up when I've finished. We just need to just tighten them up so that everything is firmly in place, and that's it. You don't need the spanner anymore now. We've finished with that, and they're on really tight and secure onto this bracket. So we can then fold up the top part of the handlebar, and then we'll see here we've got these red levers. They just spring into position like that, and that holds everything nicely in place. And of course, when you want to put this away to store it, you just slacken these off, and then the top part will fold down. So it's great for storage in sheds and garages. Doesn't need quite as much space. And the final thing is we've got the cable here, and just to stop this flapping around and being damaged, we've got a cable clip here. So just slot it in there like that, and then put it onto the handlebar and just give it a push on, and that is it. It's firmly in place and can't come to any harm. So that is the assembly part of it done. What we do now is we get some fuel in it. So it needs clean petrol and it needs oil in there. So we're going to start with the petrol, and with the introduction of the new E10 petrol, it's really important that you use fresh petrol and don't leave it in the tank too long. And you can get a fuel stabilizer as well, just to make sure your mower runs nice and smoothly. We're just going to put this new fresh petrol straight into the tank like that, and then we can put the lid on it, and then we need to put in the oil. And I've got the oil which is provided with the mower, so I'll just come around to this side. This engine on this mower takes 400 millilitres. The bottle is 0.6 of a litre, 600, so we don't need all of this. A little tip to be able to pour it in. I'm going to raise this lever here so that it's not in the way. So I've got better access now to the filler cap. So this yellow one is the oil cap, and it's also the dipstick as well. So we've got the dipstick there so we can check the oil when we've got 400 millilitres in it. So we're just going to pour that in there gently. So bear in mind this is 0.6 of a litre. I need 2/3 of this bottle, a bit more, yeah. What's a good idea as well is always use the dipstick as a double check. So I'm just going to wipe the dipstick to make sure there's no residues. Just tighten that down to where it would be when the mower's in use. Take it out, and then we can just check the oil level on there. And I can see that it's difficult to see because this is new shiny oil, but the oil is pretty much just to the top of that hatching just there. So it just needs a little bit more. That's the level we're aiming for, where my finger nail is just there. So I'm about 2/3 of the way up that hatching. So it needs just a little bit more oil in there. And then we can put the top on. We'll just wipe the dipstick again to get rid of any oil on it. Just tighten that down. Let me take it out again. And I can see, yes, the oil level is there now. I can see the shiny new oil just to that point. So that is perfect. So we are now ready to start the mower. So what we'll do is lift it down onto the lawn, and I'll show you the starting procedure. Okay, so this mower is a 16-inch mower. It's got a rear roller, so this will leave a stripe, but it's a push mower, so it's not self-propelled. And to collect the grass cuttings, we've got the bag that we've assembled. Very simple to put on. We just open this flap up, and that just sits on there like that, and then the flap goes down and holds that in place. And this one has got an indicator on that when the air is blowing through, it flaps. When it stops, it tells us that the bag is full and you need to empty it. So that's quite a handy little gadget on there. The height of cut I lifted to put the oil in it, but when you get it out of the box, it is at the lowest. Never start the mower with the deck on the grass really tight down like this. It will just scalp the lawn and it strains the engine as the blade drags around. So lift it up fairly high, and then when you've started the mower, you can drop it down to the height that you want when the blades are turning, and then that will be much better. So get that up nice and high to start with. It's a recoil start here. And what we want to do is to hook it into this little bracket just here. So to do that, I'm going to pull back the red lever that takes some of the compression out of the engine, and I'm just carefully going to pull that out. We just do it this once to set the mower up, and that loops around there, and that is now in position. So when we want to start the mower, instead of bending down, we can do it from a standing position like this. Starting is very simple. We have got this red lever here. To start the engine, we have to pull this lever in before it will start, and then when we want to stop, we just simply release it and the engine will cut off. And when we're starting from cold, there's a primer button just here. There's no choke or throttle lever. This is all you need to do, and we just prime this by pushing it 3 or 4 times at the beginning, and that gets a little bit of fuel into the carburetor and makes starting much easier. So to start it, it's pulling back the red lever. Bear in mind, this has never been started before. We've only just taken it out of the box, so it might take a few pulls, but normally first or second pull should be enough. So here we go. So there you have it, that's the Cobra RM40C, a great little rotary mower with a rear roller to give a stripe that will make a really smart job of cutting your lawn.
Remember to register your Cobra online at www.cobragarden.co.uk. Always have your Cobra serviced regularly. Check the website for your nearest dealer.